What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new edition of Wrestle Update. I'm your host, Dylan Fox, as always joined by Nello De Angelis. And Nello, we have come back, we've returned, we've got one more left in us for 2025. And what better to talk about to end the year than AEW World's End? Although, contrary to popular belief, the world is not ending in the grander scheme, the real world. Me and you, God willing, heart willing, health willing, we are going to wake up tomorrow. The world will not end. We will still be here. Do you believe that? Do you agree with what I'm putting down right now?
Yes.
And when we wake up, we're going to have more wrestling to talk about as well. Juanis put it down. Me and him talked about it right before the show. The year-end awards are coming, people. So next week, that's going to be our next episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's always one of my favorite shows to do every year, to be honest with you. So it's going to be a hoot. And Nello, we are coming off the holidays, and I do want to say belated Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Solstice, all the other holidays, National Shrimp Scampi Day. Like every holiday that you could celebrate, whenever you can get free food, that's always the most important thing. And with New Year's coming up, there will be another opportunity for that. Do you got any plans for New Year's, Nello?
Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out with one of my friends, so I'm pretty excited.
I hope you and your friend have a great time. Like, have a super great... You going to watch the ball drop? Or any of that stuff?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I will do that as well. I will try to do my best to bring in the new year in a good way. But besides all that, we are here today to talk about World's End. Again, not the literal World's End, just the AEW show of the similar title. Although I wanted the company to end by the end of the show, based on what happened. But obviously that's a little dramatic. I actually love AEW a lot, and I appreciate them, especially for the tournament that they set up heading into this. It's always my favorite time of the year with the Continental Classic. This year, schedules got a little scrambled. We weren't really able to do our usual coverage of it, and I do apologize for that. But it's just a lot was going on. I will say that I watched the tournament itself. I watched all of it, to be honest. And I greatly enjoyed this year. I'll talk a bit more about what I feel about the booking when we talk about the final match on this show. But nevertheless, Nello, like I said, I know you had a lot going on. Where were you at with World's End? Just knowing who the semifinalists were, knowing what the world title was, what was kind of your vibe going into the show?
I admittedly have not been watching lately. So I was kind of tuned out, but also still excited because while unfortunately life stuff happened that sort of prevented me from watching the C2, it was still the semifinals and finals, and I was very excited for that. The rest of the show, just sort of felt like a bonus, nothing that I was really attached to or had been, wanting to see really.
Yeah, I understand that. And what I'm hearing is, Nello, you have a real life that I don't have. At the end of the day, I only know wrestling. Well, that you don't have to say it. I'm saying it. At the end of the day, but there were some good matches in the tournament. I thought two of the standouts were Jet Speed, Speedball, and Kevin Knight. I think they both had some really good matches, including against each other as well. I thought they did a great job in their match against each other. And their whole block, I thought they were all standouts. Fletcher and Speedball was a great match. I thought, once again, Speedball had one of the best Okada matches that he's had. Better than either of his performances in this show, I would say. But I thought Speedball really knows how to get the best out of him. And I think he does a great job with all of that. Fletcher was constantly a highlight. I enjoyed Mascara Dorada in his tournament matches as well, in the Blue League. They did some really good things there. Darby, did some good stuff as well in there. Just everybody did good. It was a good tournament. And well, we had a winner that I didn't expect personally on here too. So again, the booking I'll get into more, but in terms of a full tournament, lots of good matches there, and I think they did a good job hyping up the show. And to me, I'm the same as you. Like you might not have been watching, but I did, and I still had the same opinion. I was into the tournament. Everything else is kind of like superfluous. Except for the main event, which I think has had absolutely horrific build, like some of the worst, like for a world title match. And honestly, like, and we'll talk about the match itself, but the build up to it was about as bad as that Four Pillars 4-way match when MJF was the champion. Um, if not even worse, actually. Like it was really honestly some of the worst stuff from all involved. From guys, MJF aside, I respect the other three a lot. And I just think this has been a disaster of a build-up here. So we'll see if that has any effect on anything. But regardless, I do think the tournament is enough of a draw, considering that how star-studded it was this year and how that was handled. Did you watch any of the 0 Hour?
I kind of had it on. Like I could talk about it.
Well, first thing that we got to talk about is yet another thing. I'm telling you, me on that State of the Union address from May was like prophetic. First of all, I said Kendall Gray was a sleeper to be the next top women's star in WWE. And now she's got tons of hype. Everyone recognizes her as one of the best workers. Already is getting a push in NXT, won the Iron Survivor. And in AEW, I said one of the 4 people they should sign is Hyan. And it came true once again here, as she has been signed again after stupid circumstances with everything going on with Tegan Knox and Miranda Alize. But nevertheless, Hyan and Maya World stepped up. They got respect and they got the contract, even though they lost it to the Sisters of Sin with Sky Blue and Julia Hart there. Happy for Hyan and Maya World. I would like to see them do something besides these, 4 or 5 minute matches. And Julian Hart and Sky Blue, I don't ever need to see, to be honest. But it was definitely a match. That's my thought on all of these. Actually, is like all 3 of these matches were totally skippable, in my humble opinion. Have you seen any of Hyan and Maya?
No, only from like some of WrestleMania weekend last year.
Haya did, showed out there. What about the next match with Kingston and Zach Gibson? Ortiz is back. The big news of the 0 Hour.
Yeah, interesting.
Is Ortiz an upgrade or a downgrade from Hook as Eddie's partner?
Upgrade. I think they're gonna have way more chemistry.
That is one thing. I mean, he hasn't been seen in forever. But they were teaming together before his injury 2 years ago. You have to wonder what he thinks when he sees Santana, like now being like heading a company, and everything, and he just has been totally lost for 2 years. At least now they're doing something with him. I think a tag team is the right move for Kingston. And Ortiz is a natural partner. So good stuff there. We'll see what comes in the future. Bandito and Mascara Dorada versus the Don Callis family Z team, I think. Like not even the D team. Mark Davis and Rocky Romero. Like good match, but I will say this. They were teasing on commentary like, Bandito and Mascara Dorada, maybe they could be a tag team going forward. I don't want that. What happened to my Brodito?
That was really confusing to me. I absolutely hear you. It was like total Brody King erasure.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I want more Brody King in my life, not less. Why are they trying to take Brodito away from us?
I don't know.
What was that? Was that Cookie Monster?
I don't know. I don't know.
The best CM that to be discussed on this show that we've ever had, I would say. Final match was Jet Speed and Jurassic Express versus more shenanigans heels. Josh Alexander Demand. I know you were locked in for your boys, GOA, in another match.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
No one can take their eyes off of them, especially when they're in meaningless matches. Uh, I will say one positive. No, none of that like crossover from the 0 hour into the main show. They actually ended it right this time.
Yeah. Once I saw what match it was, I was like, I really hope that they don't do that.
That was awesome the first time because it was totally unexpected. The second time was cheesy. We talked about that. It just didn't work the same. It just did not hit the same. And hopefully they put that on the shelf for a few shows at least. But nevertheless, they start off with a recap of Takeshita and Okada. They've been in this never-ending feud for months and months. And now they finally face off. So they start off with Don Callis on commentary. He checks in and he's like, hey, these are my guys, but look at the super athletes that are in the Don Callis family. Don't I pick them to, 3 of the 4 semifinalists are from the Don Callis family. Blah, blah, blah. They go outside pretty early. And at one point, Takeshita kind of tries to dive at Okada, who moves, and he flies into a chair. So that was good. They did a cool spot where after a kick out in the ring, Takeshita fired up and did this power suplex thing. It was really good, I thought. Okada flipped him off early here and often, but he hit his big blue thunder bomb. We see a big lariat, not the full Rainmaker, but kind of like a short-armed version, into the German suplex, into a Rainmaker, but that gets countered into a near fall, like flash pin. And then they do it where he looks for the Rainmaker. He misses, but that I don't know if he was supposed to bump Paul Turner or what happened, but somehow there was some sort of mix-up where Okada went to the corner. He got a screwdriver out of the turnbuckle pad, right? And he just stabs Takeshita and the referee for no reason in this supposedly all about fair fighting tournament just counts to 3. So I like the match well enough. It was on the verge of becoming great, I thought, actually. It was a really good match. But the finish was so dumb. Who even had this idea? I don't even understand it at all. And I guess I've heard people say that he was supposed to be distracted, or he kind of distracted himself. But it looked to me like he didn't have anything to be distracted about. It looked like he just stabbed him right in front of the referee. What did you think?
This was the worst way that you could have ended this match. People have been looking forward to this matchup for so long, and just because it's the first in a series doesn't mean that you have to end it like this. It felt like we got robbed straight up. It's the Continental Classic. I definitely think that Takeshita could have just taken a loss. There's other ways, we always say, there's other ways you could have done this, right? And this is definitely one of those situations.
To me, the fact that it's likely the first in the series makes it more makes this worse. You could have easily had Okada just win. He's going to get his win back. We all know that. So what is wrong with adhering to your own rules that you made up for the Continental Classic? And to be honest, I'm the type of person where even if this was a normal match, I still wouldn't have liked it because it's stupid. The execution was really bad. Never mind the idea of it. But especially in the Continental Classic, the whole gimmick of this tournament is that this is supposed to be clean-cut wrestling, and I just don't understand what is the problem with letting us have a few clean matches, because there's going to be some BS on a lot of these matches. That's just how it goes in AEW a lot of the times. There's always shenanigans in many, many matches. So let us have this tournament where we get good wrestling with good finishes. We don't have to have bad finishes all the time. And this tournament's supposed to be about that. And like I said, I told you before, I mentioned the State of the Union. One of my critiques of AEW, and what I said was be one of the first things that I would do, is get rid of every referee that they have, because I think they're all awful. Like, and this continue, and it happens every month. Every time we do these reviews, there's always a fuck up. Like, always, they screw up. And I don't know why they just keep getting away with it. Overall, bring in there's only one good one good referee left in wrestling. That guy in NXT that counted the shoot pin when Thea Hale shot on fucking Mariah May for the title. Like, and he counted for 3 anyway. Bring him over. He's the only good referee this business knows. It started
so funny.
Did you see that? I never asked you where Thea won the title because she didn't let Mariah up. And
I saw the clip, yeah.
And did he not count a straight up 3?
He did.
He's the last real referee, and Thea Hale's the last real shooter. That's what that. And honestly, like,
real shooter, Thea Hale.
That's the truth. It's the truth, Nello. We saw the proof. You said you saw it with your own 2 eyes. And to be honest, for all the talk, like, people were going crazy on that. Well, most people were like me, and they praised the referee for actually doing good for once, instead of screwing up like always. But a lot of people were like, oh, this throws everything into havoc, like chaos now. The title, she got the belt she wasn't supposed to. That was probably the most I've heard about NXT in years, maybe. Like, was because of that. That got so much publicity. That got more publicity than all the TNA stuff combined. With all due respect to TNA. But you could just count the 3. You could just referee fair. People want to see this, man. What do these bookers like have to prove with all this? I just don't understand. But nevertheless, Okada makes the finals. And I don't mind the booking, by the way. The only thing I can say about him winning is that maybe this was his idea of politics, because Takeshita is the New Japan IWGP champion heading into the Dome. And maybe they didn't want him to take a clean loss. But in that case, would it have hurt if Takeshita just won? Like, then, if that's so big of a problem, then Okada could get his win back later. He's still a champion. Even though he lost in the finals, he's still a freaking champion of the 10 million titles they have in this company. Just have one of these guys win. Like, it doesn't matter that much. Damn you, Continental Classic booking here. But nevertheless, we come back and we go to the semifinals. Fletcher versus Moxley here. I will say, I thought that they would have. I thought it would be Takeshita and Okada. And I thought it would be Moxley and Pac, honestly. Because I thought you would have 2 guys from 2 different factions and that would lead to this. But they went a different way here. And I don't mind it at all either, because I think Fletcher has great upside. But nevertheless, they go on. Fletcher does some heel stuff where he's kind of stalling on the floor a little bit. And then Moxley comes in with an armbar. They do a strike battle, and really good strikes too from both men, I noted. At one point, Mox hits a diamond cutter to turn the momentum. And he looks for a dive, but they had done a segment where Fletcher had went after him with a single leg crab, and then he sold his leg on the dive, and that let Fletcher sneak back into the ring and hit a big Michinoku driver there. And they noticed about the fans really were rallying behind Moxley here. He was full babyface here. He went for a blockbuster, but that missed. And when he went to the top rope, he ended up hitting a superplex from him that they both sold. The crowd stood up and applauded for that. They ended up going in. Mox hits a big curb stomp, shout out Seth Rollins there. And then Fletcher goes into the corner and he looks for the screwdriver, but he can't find it. And then that gets pulled into the Death Rider. He kicks out, hits another Death Rider, kicks out again, and then locks in the Bulldog choke for the win here. No tap, but nevertheless. What'd you think of the match here?
This was the match of the night, in my opinion.
I
I
agree.
think that this is one of those latest possible entry match of the year candidates.
I thought the work between these two was so great. I think the chemistry they had would be a little unexpected, but I think Moxley. I think the thing is, he's going to get a lot of because it's like recency bias in his favor, because he's been so great in this run at the end of the year that it kind of overshadows all the bad stuff that happened up until All In, pretty much. But for whatever reason, ever since he lost that belt, he's become a next level. Like this is the best work of his career, like in the last 4 months, and he did it again. I loved the Kyle O'Reilly matches a lot, and I thought it was a fantastic story and great booking. And I loved this too. I thought this was again great wrestling and great booking. And if you noticed, even after everything, and I think pretty much all of us, we had all had some sort of plan where he was going to turn babyface and the Death Riders turned on him. But that only allowed the fans to rally behind him more. Look at how over he was on this show. Like he was the most over babyface of anyone on this show after a year of the Death Riders. And I don't think a lot of us would have predicted that before all this. What do you think of Mox as a babyface?
He's really come into it naturally. I mean, like, dude, especially with the promo at the end of the show, like he could not be more babyface at this point. We went from being tired of Moxley to him being like, okay, here's one of the great babyface wins of the year after I just gave Adam Page arguably the great babyface win of the year. Like, it's crazy. It reminds me of Danielson and his ability to ebb and flow between face and heel like that.
I think the thing with him is he wasn't having these matches as champion. Like he was nowhere close to what we're seeing here against Fletcher. If he had matches like this all the time, he would have been the most over guy like all the whole time, pretty much. But they came in, they did that. Fletcher attacks him after the match, went after the leg again, set up things for his buddy with Okada, so that was good. What do you think of him not fighting the screwdriver? Do you think that's a part of some bigger storyline?
Yeah, I mean, Don Callis went to the semifinals with a 75% chance of retaining the title for his faction, and he lost, which is pretty nuts. So I feel like there's got to be some sort of wild follow-up implosion about to happen.
At least Okada and Takeshita for sure. I feel like we're right. That's coming. But it's going to be interesting to see what role Fletcher plays in all of this. After some could say that maybe Okada cost him the tournament with the screwdriver. But then, we didn't mention the ratings here. What would you give these two, the semifinals matches?
I'd go like 3.5 on Takeshita Okada and 4.5, 4 3/4 on Moxley Fletcher. What about you?
Yeah, so the match guide, Okada Takeshita has 7.73, and Mox and Fletcher has 9.35. So I'm with you. Like I'd say about 3.5, about a 7 out of 10 maybe on the cage match scale, and I go about 4.5 for Mox and Fletcher, and probably 9 out of 10 on that end. I thought it was a great match. Like you said, one of the best matches of the whole year in AEW for sure. Up next, we had the lowest rated match of the show. The World Tag Team title, Chicago Street Fight. The Bang Bang Gang. Austin Gunn from Orlando and Juice Robinson from Joliet. They are here. They are doing a Chicago Street Fight with FTR. And Stokely was there too. See, the thing about this match is, I don't think this was a bad match. I just think it lasted a really long time. at the end of the day. And the problem is, I don't think Austin Gunn and Juice are a great team. You know, like they're better off with their original partners who are both hurt. You know, at the end of the day. And even then, like the Gun Club aren't exactly world beaters, in my opinion. Um, so it was a decent match. You had the big spot with Stokely that the cable didn't really give in for, but whatever. um, you know, it was a nice brawling match, but I didn't think it stood out at all. This is like a 3-star type of match to me. You had stuff with again, the table was a big part of it. You had the kendo sticks. You had trash cans. The title got used at one point. They had all the plunger stuff. You had a fire extinguisher. As a Juice used that on him too. So you had a little bit of everything. It was fine. What'd you think?
Yeah, this didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. The best part of the entire match to me was Stokely taking that bump off the table.
I agree.
And then the table falling on him afterwards was like the icing on the cherry on the cake. But yeah, like this was a whatever match. It felt like like filler, but it didn't necessarily feel like I needed that yet. Like I kind of wanted to keep the show accelerating, and this sort of brought it to a bit of a halt.
I mean, how many times again have we said that about these AEW pay-per-views? Like, there's always that were like, why is this on pay-per-view? Like, why couldn't we just have this as the main event of a Dynamite or something like that? And this was definitely one of those. It's got a 6.44 rating, so again, not bad. What would you give it?
I'll go 1. No, I'm kidding, dude. I'd go like 2.5, 2 3/4.
Yeah, that's fine. That's about where I'd round up. Maybe a little higher, but not that much. They had this video talking about how great the company's doing and how Sports Illustrated loves them. Here they gave them all kinds of year-end awards. Sports Illustrated a close second to the Wrestle Update awards for sure. We'll see if AEW gets many then. So they go in. Then we have the Babes of Wrath defending against Mercedes and Athena. And they had some good back and forth early on. At one point, Willow powerbombed Mercedes on the apron. They fired up. Willow hit a double powerbomb, and then Harley came off with a crossbody on both Athena and Mercedes. And that looked like they did the thing where they did a double team move where Harley hit the eat defeat into a big suplex from Willow, but then Athena hit the O-face out of onto Harley was who it was. She hit the O-face, and then they teamed up on Willow. We saw the back statement, but she powered out of that, hit a Death Valley driver. That was a good counter. They do a miscommunication spot where Athena accidentally drops Mercedes, and then Willow hits a roll up to a flash pin win here, and the Babes of Wrath retain 6.66 rating. What do you think?
There was some messy stuff for sure, but I enjoyed this more than the previous match. And I thought that, as you're establishing your new titles, this was a solid defense, and I think a legitimate defense for these girls. It was awesome, and I'm excited to see what the team does next.
Yeah, I thought this was about, I felt the same, honestly, with this one after the other one. It's got a slight difference in rating, but it's basically the same like Cage Match 2. And again, I would say they're both about the 3-star level. Not bad, but do they need to be on the pay-per-view? No. And I also, they're fine as a team. But I do think there are better. Harley is not at the level to be a champion, in my opinion. When you look at a lot of the talent on the roster, you have better options, including this team with Mercedes and Athena, which is a more well-rounded team. I'm happy Willow can do something because she deserves a lot of credit and all of that. But I wish that there was a more well-rounded team. I just don't think Harley is at that level in ring at all. Character-wise, yes. In ring wise, no. And I think in AEW and really any wrestling company, like you need to have strong first champions to establish the titles. And I don't like this isn't gonna cut it, in my opinion, like to establish one of their many, many belts that they have. Again, especially in AEW, you have to work double time to make these titles mean anything. And this didn't do it for me at the end of the day. But it was fine. Mercedes cut a fiery promo online, and she dropped an F-bomb at Willow and said they're going to have a singles match, which I will be excited to see that on Dynamite, to be honest. That'll be good. After that, we've got Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. They played this goofy video for Darby. Like, what was this? Would you say this is like? Would this be in your movie if you made one?
No.
Like what Darby put together here?
No.
If you had hired Darby to work with you and he sent this in as his segment, what would you message him back with that?
Let's try something different, bud. No, I'm kidding. Hey, man, it's his artistic voice. More power to him for expressing himself.
I guess so. I mean, we've seen some outside the box stuff. I gotta say, he really feels like he's going nowhere as a character, just in general. And I think he's a great wrestler. Like, in ring wise, like, he's awesome. Character wise, I don't think they're getting the most out of him currently. And the feuding with the Madman was not the answer. Pretty clearly, I would say. That said, he did get thrown through the steel steps at one point. So even in this utterly meaningless match, he had no problem risking it at all. Here, as he came in, Muda scale broken once again. Gabe Kidd fires up with some headbutts. Darby fires back, blasts Gabe Kidd with the chair to the face. They go up, trade drop kicks. He ends up. Gabe looks for a pile driver from the middle ropes. Darby counters that, and he hits the coffin drop, but he can't make the pin. And Kidd gets out of the ring to roll outside, and then Kidd gets another coffin drop on the outside as well. He hits the Scorpion Death Drop into the Scorpion Death Block. That gets countered. Kidd grabs his own Bulldog Choke once again. Darby counters that into Flash Pin for the win. So another roll-up finish here. And I was getting sick of this. Like, again, like, we're on a pay-per-view. Have somebody win clean. It's not that freaking hard at the end of the day. But nevertheless, it was good. The crowd was into Darby. Gabe Kidd, I have no time for. Really. I thought it was a fine match, though. It's got a 7.66 rating. Better than the two tag matches, for sure. But I think when you look at a match with Darby on paper, and you've seen the matches he had in the tournament, you know that he could be doing better than this. Really, this felt like a really mid-card match to me. That's all I could think of watching this. But I'd still go like 3.5, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This one, like, is someone that hasn't been watching. It felt like this had about as much build up for me as it did everyone else.
Yes, you were not alone in this.
And even then, this felt so pointless to me. And I think that if this was on television, it would feel like it has more purpose, because when you throw something like this on a pay-per-view, it feels like we're just filling the Darby quota, right? Rather than crafting something actually meaningful for him, it's like, hey, let's just let's throw him on the show, right?
That's basically what this was, like a filler match that means nothing. Like, Darby gained nothing from this win. Like, it's not like this will set him towards any course towards anything. Kidd, I don't even know what his character is in AEW or anywhere, to be honest. This just felt like an extremely pointless match at the end of the day. But, we saw with the next match, pointless matches can still be fun in certain cases. Where we had mixed nuts mayhem here. Where we saw Tony Storm and the conglomeration taking on the Death Riders. How do you even describe this match here?
This was like the second best match on the show, dude.
It was great for what they were going for. It was great. You had a completely weird scenario with Timeless Tony in with the Death Riders. You had some Roddy Strong and Marina Shafir setups, which the crowd loved. They popped huge for that. There with the conglomeration versus Death Riders feud or whatever going on. Claudio went after Tony at one point, but Mark Briscoe flew in to save it. They both, Mark and Tony both hit a double shoulder block, and Tony Storm is like flexing like she knocked down Claudio. It was really good. We look for Garcia comes in, looks for his pile driver, but they change their mind. They do the spot where Tony and Orange Cassidy do like this dancing spot, like old school, like Romeo type of dancing. She dips OC back, and that leads to a big boot. The Death Riders look like clowns, to be fair, but still, the crowd ate it up. They loved it. When Roddy chopped Marina Shafir, the crowd went nuts. We see an orange punch from OC into Yuta. Yuta takes the hip attack from Tony, then the J Driller from Mark to get the pin and the win here. The thing is, I really think my MVP of this match was a lot of people, but I love that Yuta is like a cheat code level heel. All you have to do is have him go out there and get his ass beat. And you're guaranteed to get a reaction, no matter who it is. If it's a serious situation, if it's a goofy situation, Yuta getting beating up is the key to a great match in AEW. I think no matter who it is, where they go, the crowd will love it. It'll be great. He'll bump his ass off and be a stooge. And it worked. Like, this was completely ridiculous. Served very little purpose, I would say. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed watching it.
No, signature AEW match, which is to say, the best of PWG. Like, this was totally a PWG style fun match. And I'm trying to think what else. Man, Tony Storm's so great in this. Marina Shafir's so great in this. I was thinking about this when the Death Riders came out at the end, but I was like, dude, remember how we used to talk about like Marina Shafir and like how out of place she just felt and stuff like that? And now it's like she just feels like part of the program, in a really, really good way. And I'm very impressed by it.
I still feel like all of these guys are in tough spots character-wise. But this is fine too. Like, at the end of the day, they didn't need to. And actually, on this show, because the crowd wasn't exactly going crazy over, like, these matches that we were talking about, we didn't care about that much. The crowd was the same. Again, it's not just you, Nello, that didn't watch the show. Even if you watched the show, you still didn't care about these matches at the end of the day. And the crowd didn't either. With this, it was like free candy, pretty much. The crowd ate it up. And it got them back into the show, or so we thought. It would die again in the next match. But at least for this match, the crowd loved it again. I really credit Yuta with a lot of that because I think he's such an easy heel to hate. But the baby faces were a lot of fun. Tony and OC had unexpected chemistry together. That's not something I would have thought of before this match, but it was fun. Again, if you don't think about it too much or try to add importance to it, like you said, a PWG style match is the perfect descriptor of this at the end of the day. Afterwards, Mina jumps into Tony's arms, and then OC also jumps into her arms afterwards, and the crowd laughed at that. So it was very fun. We got the promo I mentioned with Mercedes. She's gonna beat Willow's fucking ass, she said. Um, and we recap Statlander versus Jamie Hayter, and we just had a tragic promo on Dynamite where just Statlander totally lost herself. Uh, so they started, like, you could kind of feel it's crazy because you had that hot match everyone was into and having fun with, and then this match started, and you could kind of feel that the crowd like died immediately. Like there was no hope of getting them back. That said, they worked really hard here. And I felt kind of bad, and it's becoming a really sad... like, this reign is really kind of disheartening, because Stat's working her ass off. But the crowd, they don't care about this individual at all. Like, she's so unover right now. And I said it, the minute she came out with that alien shit, and that entrance she had... I foresaw this happening, that she was going to lose what made everyone love her in the first place a year or two ago. And she is. Like, she's totally drowning. And even though this was a really strong match, Jamie Hayter isn't exactly super over herself either. Like, with this run that she's on right now. So what we had was two baby faces, first of all, and two unover baby faces at that. We saw the big slingshot leg drop. That was great. We saw her try a Vader bomb at one point. Hayter came back with some great hard strikes, hit a big clothesline. At one point, Jamie climbed the announce table and hit a big drop kick. So we saw that. They went back and forth with some great brawling a little bit there. And we saw them go to the top, and Stat hit a big exploder from the middle ropes. No, it was Hayter that hit the exploder, excuse me. But then she hits, Stat goes up and hits the spinning, Falcon Arrow thing, which looked incredible. Like that, she had dropped her right on her head. It looked awesome. Hayter fired up. They traded super kicks back and forth, and they went back and forth with the tombstone, and it landed in a position for Stat to hit the Saturday Night Fever. And in the end, she reversed his tombstone again with another pin to win here. What'd you think?
Man, these two beat the hell out of each other and really tried to put on like a banger of a match. And I think that, while they did succeed, again, it's like you really couldn't ignore that lack of crowd response or anything really. And that was, like you said, disheartening. So like, I don't know. I still don't think that I would have taken the title off Tony, really. I think that Tony's still your biggest star in the women's division. And I think that there was a lot more that you could have done for Stat before giving her the title. Because like, while it's cool to win the title, like out of nowhere as a surprise, she wasn't necessarily built up to that. So it's like afterwards where like after that, right? Like how I'm trying to think of how to say this. If you don't build her up to be a champion, then when she becomes one, people aren't going to really consider her one still, right?
Especially when all of her wins are by flash pinfalls, again, which we saw again on this show. Again, I think the presentation's hurting her. This alien shit is not it. I'm sorry. Like, she will never get over as long as this is happening. And the thing is, I think there's a way for that to be over in a way if she went totally all in with it. Instead, she's like kind of herself, but like there's a little bit of the boopy alien stuff as well. They need to either go out like completely outlandish and cartoonish with it, the same way Tony is and her gimmick, and maybe that could get over as a comedic type of gimmick. But the way they're doing it, it kills her credibility, and I think it sucks. Like, honestly, like it's not even like, oh, it's kind of a minor issue. I think it totally sucks, and it really hurts anything she does. That promo she cut on Dynamite was awful. Like I know that she can cut better promos than that. I've seen it. Like, and I don't know what's happening to her in this title reign. I don't know if it's her idea or maybe she's working with Mercedes Ryder. Remember when Mercedes was with Camille and they did that segment where Camille tried to like run her over in a car and stuff like that. That feels like the same people who wrote that are trying to write for her now. And it's not effective at all. And I'm kind of ready to just pull the plug on this. And nobody, I love Stat as a wrestler, but this just isn't working at all. Like I said, maybe they could go back to how what was wrong with Stat Daddy? Give me my Stat Daddy back. And we may be onto something. We don't need aliens. And we don't need this damn flash pin shit. This is 3 times in a row that we had the same conversation about Mercedes. Can this woman not just get a good win over somebody as the champion that's supposed to, what are you saving Hater for? She's not over either. Just have her, Statlander, drop her with the Saturday Night Fever and win. That's all you have to do. Again, these are very simple things that they're messing up constantly. And like this whole division is just in such a weird place right now. And I don't know what to do about it overall. But I do hope they have some kind of plan to either... Somebody needs to dedicate focus to Statlander right now and be like, look, we have to get her over as a champion. Or you go back to somebody else. You can put the title back on Tony, like you said. And we'll kind of go from there, if you would like. And I honestly would have had them win the tag belts, Tony and Mina. I think that would be a great establishing role. Your biggest women's star holding the belt. And I think that would have worked well. I don't know what to do with this world title at the moment. But that seems like the easiest answer, just to go back to Tony. Even though, again, her matches are up and down with the character. I think the fans love her. And that would probably benefit the belt more than what we're doing right now with Stat. But my hope is I want them to take the belt off of her and reset her as a character. Like, just build her for another 6 months. And you could have something again, because I truly believe she's a special talent. But she's just not... This is not working at the end of the day. Nevertheless, I will say again, like, we do have to say this was a good match. Like nonetheless, just like last month with Mercedes. And this time, the match with Mercedes was not the right match psychologically to work with the hardcore matches and doing a limb work match in the semi-main. That was a bad idea. This was perfect for what they needed it to be. It's got a 7.80 rating, and I'm right there with them. This is an 8 out of 10 match to me, like 3 3/4 4-star level, I would say. And it could have been even better if the crowd was buying into it. What would you grade it?
Like a 3 3/4.
Yeah, that's what I said on there. So, nevertheless, we do have to give them credit for their work, even the booking and whatnot, and the character work is not helping them. But nevertheless, it's time for the finals of the tournament. Callis is back on commentary, and he goes on about how Okada is going to win the tournament and prove his, how great he is. And he brought up how he and the Death Riders have never been friends, bringing up the attack that they had, Moxley did on him at one point. And so he's ready to get revenge on Mox. And Moxley gets a promo saying, like, no matter what, this is what wrestling's all about. This is what real wrestling is all about. This is why I live. Like, this is the most passionate form of wrestling there ever was. And it was a good babyface promo to hype it up. Starting off, Okada hits a middle finger going in there. Okada hits a DDT on the floor, goes after the leg, and does some work there. He flips the fans off behind his back, which was pretty funny. There, and he locks in the cloverleaf, which I saw a great tribute to Tanahashi before their match at the Dome. Okada's facing Hiroshi Tanahashi, in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom this year in a sold-out Tokyo Dome in Tanahashi's retirement match. So he uses one of Tanahashi's big moves there, and he ends up hitting a low blow, kicked him right in the balls, hits a Rainmaker, but it's a near fall. Callis brings the belt in, and the ref catches him, goes for the belt. Mox hits another low blow to fight back with. Okada hits a Rainmaker, but he can't cover because he's too busy holding his balls. They reset.
Can you wait? Sorry, Dylan. Could you say that one more time, please?
He couldn't make the cover because he was too busy holding his balls. And did I tell a lie, Nello?
Nope.
You saw it, and the people saw it too. Everyone will back me up on this one. We watched a man hold his balls live on national television, live on pay-per-view. And we saw then Moxley hit back-to-back paradigm shifts, hits the stomp, then the Death Rider for the win there. And then the crowd gave a huge pop to that. And Moxley becomes the hero of the tournament. The entire group comes out. Mox cuts a totally babyface promo. He says, "This tournament's not about me. It belongs to us, all the Death Riders. It belongs to everyone in the tournament. It belongs to the fans of all of pure wrestling. And we're all the hardest working wrestlers alive. And we're all about the fans." What? Like, what sense does that make after the Death Riders thing? Like, wasn't the whole point of that he hated the fans for encouraging AEW to become more like PWG? He didn't say it exactly like that, but that was pretty much what he was saying. He doesn't like the goofy shit. And his answer to that was to have terrible matches where there was a million run-ins all the time. But nevertheless, we're now at a point where he's all about the fans, and he's going to give the fans what they want. That's his only mission in life. What? And he delivered it good. Don't get me wrong. His delivery was good, and I like the storyline. I think there was a way this could have been really great and compelling, but I think the 180, like the true paradigm shifts, no pun intended, of this character's morals, it was a little much for me, to be honest. Even though I liked it as a performance and the execution was good, knowing what we've been through for a year and a half, I don't know about this. And to be honest, even though it was good, and him winning as a talent, I don't have any problem with, but I do have to ask myself the question. We built up and built up and built up to Hangman's big moment. And at the end of the year, and actually even before the end of the year, it never changed. And I said this last month. Go back to our review of Full Gear. Jon Moxley is the main character of AEW. It damn sure isn't Hangman with where he's going. Like, is this really what this company needs to be going in with a nonsensical babyface turn, and the same guy who was the champion for a year is back as being the top star again?
Yeah, and I haven't been watching, so once MJF got added, I honestly just expected MJF to win. I was like, you know what? This just feels like Joe is going to drop the title. Swerve and Hangman are going to get like caught up with each other or something, to get distracted. And then MJF's going to capitalize, and then it happened. So it, as much of a shocker as it may have been, it felt pretty predictable still.
What about Mox though?
Mox was a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah, like I mean, I said, I like the story, but I just, don't you feel like it's a little out of, like, the motivation for his character is just all over the place. Like, it's totally the opposite of what he was before, like not that long ago.
Moxley and Okada, like, again, I expected this grand tournament final, and how good was last year's finals? Incredible. It was one of, if not the best match of the tournament. This year, it was not that. It felt like a grueling, slow-paced Okada match, and I wanted something fiery. And it felt like, I mean, it really, in the end, did feel like Moxley wanted it more. just like he said.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. I didn't think it was any kind of great match. It definitely wasn't nearly as good as Mox and Fletcher, I would say. But yeah, what about the promo afterwards? And where do you think this is going with the Death Riders now?
I have no clue where the Death Riders are headed. But ugh, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, it's a really weird position.
I like that they're subverting it because I think everybody expected a big turn on him, and that didn't happen. You know, like he just won and he's like redeemed himself. So like I said, I like the idea of a redemption story. I just don't think it's good pacing or booking for us to be ending this year with Jon Moxley as the top star of the company. And like the main character of everything. Like, yes, MJF won the title, but Mox is the top. Like, he is the main character of this promotion. It has been all along. Like, even after he lost the belt. Do you think that this group will break up, like the Death Riders?
No, like right now, I don't think so. I think they're maybe on their redemption arc.
I could see that, but I think it's going to be weird to turn Yuta babyface at this point. And same thing with Garcia, who just turned heel. Like,
yeah, and like I don't necessarily think that they need to like turn, you know. I think that it can still be like this heel group that sort of centers around Moxley, who's just sort of beloved.
Yeah. I think the best bet, like I said, I think Mox, he has to be a babyface going forward. I mean, they laid the promo out like it was a total babyface, even if I didn't like it in terms of how, like the message of it, his performance was good, like very good actually. I think the message of it I didn't like, but it's too strong of a babyface push to go forward. I think they should try to do something where try and split off the group. What I would do, I think this sets up perfectly. Pack, and I think we saw a little tease of that in the Mixed Nuts challenge or whatever, where Pac can lead Garcia and Yuta as a faction, and Mox gets O'Reilly and Roddy in on his side, and you have Marina with him. Roddy and Marina are united. They can find a women's wrestler to be on the Death Rider side, and Claudio's kind of caught in the middle. Like that would be where I would be at on there, and you can kind of adjust accordingly to that. But that pays off O'Reilly's big win. It gives him a serious role going forward. I think they're probably better outside of the conglomeration. And you could have a feud like after that. Like Mox leads a new babyface group that goes on his ideals, and Pac leads a more violent and like Weasley group with Yuta and Garcia, because I just don't think they're effective as baby faces. I mean, Pac could be, but why would you do that after you went to the trouble of cutting his hair, getting this super heel look? I think Mox has to go babyface. So I think it would be a little awkward to have Mox be a babyface while leading a heel group. That feels like Sting and Main Event Mafia to me a little bit. And I think it would just be easier. Clean break. Let Mox do a new thing. O'Reilly and Roddy are perfect, buddies for that. And those could be some banger six-mans as well. And you could even, like I said, get another woman in and have a feud with Marina. You could do, if you play your cards right, that could be another Blood and Guts next year. And one that would actually be built well. But I guess we'll see on that end. That's just my idea, at the end of the day. I don't know. So then we go up to the main event, a four-way match, MJF, Swerve, and Hangman challenging Joe. We got some terrible promos to build this thing up from all involved, I would say. Like I said, nobody was good. MJF was obviously the worst offender, but they came back next week and Swerve, there's a lot of controversy. What do you think of MJF? Like, basically, he didn't run his lines by anybody, and he called Swerve Diddy, and that allegedly led to heat. And the payback was they gave Swerve and Hangman their own mic time to get back at him, and Swerve just called him Diddy back, pretty much. And
wrestling.
And Hangman, he cut this just terrible promo where he's like the worst stereotype of a blue sky user. He was just getting clowned all over the place for his promo on MJF. It was just awful. Like all of them. Like all of them should feel bad about the promos they cut. And the booking of it was also to blame because MJF just cut these scathing promos and everyone just stood there like geeks. And so then we got to the match. What do you think? If you were, whose side are you on in this? Do you think MJF, it's like him kind of going off the cuff is okay, but he shouldn't have called him Diddy? Like, that was a step too far? Or are you on their side like, hey, why didn't you run these things by us? Like, type of deal. Like, whose side are you on that debate?
Man, like, I just think that, again, like, this is the biggest thing with MJF is he's the bottom of the barrel. And, like, he gets this pass for it or whatever, but it's just the bottom of the barrel, and it's simply not for me.
They got a lot of backlash, by the way. Like, people didn't... The thing is, we're talking about a world title match here, and the question coming into it and coming out of it, this feud is not about the title between MJF and Swerve. It's about who's Diddy. Who wants to watch that? What kind of main event feud is that? And a lot of people are just turned off by it because it's, it's offensive. Like, it really is. Like, why are we bringing up a guy who is like everybody knows what Diddy's about and how terrible of a person he is. Nobody wants this. And that's the thing with MJF's thing. Whether it was him the first time where he tanked the company and tanked business horribly, which he probably will do again, the way things are going. He does stuff, and his instincts are of things nobody wants. I feel like he's the only one that wants to go in these directions, and it doesn't make any sense. But never. They did go in. They did. They got to a part where Hangman and Swerve were kind of united the last month. But a big spot was them facing off, and that got a big reaction from the crowd. There. Hangman hits the buckshot. They do a big Tower of Doom spot going in there. The Ops run out to help Joe. And Hangman, he hits Hook. And that distraction allows Joe to hit the Coquina clutch and lock that in. But he ends up swerve stopping everybody. MJF, he drops Swerve off the top rope. Hangman hits back-to-back buckshot lariats. And then MJF sneaks in, hits a low blow kick, heat seeker on Joe to win. So last month, I talked about how against the title change was. That Hangman should have retained the title. And you went back to your tried and true method. Give it 3 weeks. And we've given it a month. And I can say that I have not changed my mind from where I was last month. They should not have changed the title from Hangman. And it makes even less sense, actually, with MJF winning. What exactly was the purpose of this Joe reign at all? To bring Hook back? Like, that's what we're bringing the world title to? Hook coming back is bigger than the champion of the guy you spent all of this time building up. That whole thing at All In was built around Hangman winning. He had his Cody moment. And then Moxley, the one who lost the belt, was still the main character of your company. Page was not getting main events. And then when he finally main evented a real show, he lost the belt right away. And then that person lost it a month later to an anti-draw. How can we make sense? What does all of this tell us, Nello? Like, what does this tell us about AEW's plan for the title? That this is what we've come to at the end of the year. Whether it was the Hangman run to Joe to this. What is this?
Not good.
That's obvious. Anything with MJF as the champion is never a good sign. But even how they got to it was bad. And the thing is, I think this proves like Hangman, he's a mid carder. Like that's really what you look at of him right now. He's a hook level wrestler in AEW. How did we get here? Like not even a half year after All In. How did we get to him being on the same level as Hook? How do you do that? As like this may legitimately be one of the worst booked wrestlers like that in decades. They blew it. Like they've totally blown it with Hangman. He could never be what he was before anymore. Like it's just over for him as a main event like top player in AEW. How did they do that?
I mean, I don't. Damn, that's pretty harsh. Um, I don't know if I'd go that hard on it. Like, do I not like it? Yes. Are they capable of flipping the switch on people? For sure. Um, I thought, like when I came into this Fatal 4-Way, the obvious comparison was the Four Pillars Fatal 4-Way. And I thought that this match was better and it felt like it had more star power. It felt like it had actual main event players. So I appreciated the stakes, but like the intention versus the impact, right? The outcome. Um, it really fell for me. And I'm not quite sure what you do with Swerve or Hangman right now.
I thought this was worse than the Four Pillars. I thought this match was just
Damn.
Yeah, the ops stuff was stupid. The finish was bad. Yes, the fans popped for Hangman and Swerve. This match, yes, the crowd popped for the Swerve and Hangman stuff, but this whole month you've been building them up as allies against the ops and against MJF last week. And then you're still kind of going back to an easy playbook. It's like when Brian did the yes chants in that Okada match. He even did the interview where he's like, that's something easy to get the crowd into it. That's what that felt like to me, because this match was going off the rails, and they went to something easy to bring the crowd back. And then they went to that lame op stuff and the lame finish that they had with MJF as well. And I just don't think this served any purpose. I think everybody lost at the end. Like nobody gained from what they've done in the last month. Like I think Hangman, Joe, and Swerve are all lower than they were a month ago with the booking they had, where Swerve came out to save at the end. And I think it's really a damn shame that this company cannot get this world title right, no matter what they do. Like even when they're, and this wasn't a good show in terms of booking up and down. I would say, like you had some good matches, but I think there's way more questions and answers coming off of this show than positive things overall. Like pretty much everything, like honestly, like everything happening in this company is negative for me right now. Like I think they're at one of their worst points as a company at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're not good. Like up and down in terms of booking. There's nothing that's really selling me. The tag division sucks right now with FTR. None of your women are over outside of Tony, who's not a champion, and Mercedes, who's also like a TBS champion, but losing left and right. Most matches ended with some kind of flash pin on this show. Jon Moxley as a babyface makes no fucking sense. Based on the last year that we've had to do this accelerated face turn that we've had, which was again, that booking is good, but with the wrong person. I feel like, and again, it's not because he's not talented enough. He's doing great work. Like he's been the highlight of this company with whatever I want to say about his character. But I think this show is not enjoyable, like week to week. Like the booking is not there. There's no stories to attach yourself to going forward. Like what do I have to look forward to in this company?
Good. beats me.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I almost always there. And that's another thing too. We didn't even really talk about it. Fletcher, who's been arguably their MVP for the rest of the year, besides Moxley went on this crazy run. He's been one of their best workers for sure. Everyone agrees with that. He is in a neutral place from 1 year ago. He's in the exact same spot as he was. There's been no growth for this man. How does that happen? With somebody who was, and he really feels like a guy to me that they're going to wait and wait on, and one day we're going to look and it's going to be too late. You know, I really wouldn't be surprised if he goes to WWE, like, you know, when his contract's up, the way this is going.
He feels bigger to me. I think they had that great world title match with him. He had a very strong showing in the C2. Like, to me, the person that felt the most forgettable coming out of this show was Takeshita. Felt like a total non-player, non-factor. At least Fletcher had the distinction of having the best match of the night, right? So he's very memorable off this show for me, and I would say that he's in a good position. You know, I think that you can feud him and Moxley down the line even again. I think that I would say that Fletcher and Moxley are in better positions than your Takeshita, Hangman, Swerve, Joe. And like, again, like the match finish too with this MJF stuff, like, just, I don't know. I'm not excited for it again.
Everything you're saying about Fletcher was also true last year. He had the best match in the tournament last year against Ospreay. He lost the semifinals, and he's in the exact same spot a year later. You know, again, that's not growth to me when you're doing the same thing over and over. You know, insanity, they say, is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And now I feel like, too, they're basically against a corner. If they have any sense, he basically has to win next year. Like, or else if he falls short in the semifinals again next year and doesn't, you know, he should be the champion. Like, he should be holding the title, not MJF. Build Fletcher. And the thing is, that's another problem with this MJF thing. He's going to hold this damn title until All In and drop it to Ospreay. He's already got matches set up with Swerve and Mark Briscoe, probably Takeshita after they fully turn him. And then he's going to drop it to Asuka. We know what he wants to do. We know what this booking is. Why do I need to go through 8 more months of MJF as champion? We saw how that worked last time as a babyface. It sucked. We saw how his run worked the last time as a heel. It sucked. His idea for a Bryan Danielson match, and I think you would agree, Bryan Danielson, one of the GOATs in ring. He's one of the best in-ring workers in this company, in this history. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
MJF's idea to build up that match was to cut a promo about getting Roadhead from Liv Morgan. That's who MJF is. This is who he is. He's not going to change. He just caught a promo calling somebody Diddy. Who wants this? Like, that was my main point with a lot of these storylines. Who wants these things? I want to see Kyle Fletcher go for the title. I want to see Takeshita be elevated and blow off this Okada feud. I want to see great matches without fucked finishes up and down the card. I'm not getting that in AEW. And like, we should do a show. We did the show about giving ROH an identity. I think we need to give a show giving AEW an identity, because I feel like they've totally lost it. For like a second-rate WWE is what they've become with MJF as champion again. I'm so down on everything going on right now. Like, after the show, it was such a depressing show for me with the main event. And the thing is, there were good matches on the show. That Fletcher Moxley match was incredible. Like, that was an absolutely fantastic match. I like the mix. You said it yourself. You yourself said the Mixed Nuts Challenge was the second best match on the show. And it was. Like, a PWG comedy match was the second best match. How did we get here? I don't know. As a show... Oh, what grade would you give the main event? It's got a 7.38 rating on here, to be fair.
Like a 3. How low are you gonna go?
What would you give Mox and Okada as a score?
3.25.
That seems about right to me. Yeah, 3.25. It's between a 6 and a 7. I'd probably go 6. Main event level, I would give it 3 out of 10, maybe like a star and a half.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I thought this match sucked. Like I said, I thought everybody lost from it. Like nobody gained anything from this. And a match with MJF, it's gonna have to be like a CM Punk type of deal if it's gonna be good, where it's an emotional type of match. And this had go away heat for me. So the thing is, as a show, it's got an 8.0 out of 10. So the cage match inmates loved this show. Maybe I'm on an island with this, because I didn't think this was a great show at all. I thought you had a lot of good, one great, and the closing to the show sucked. So to me, this is like a 6 out of 10 show, not an 8 out of 10. And like I said, my vibes were 0 after MJF won. But I will be fair and give it a good grade for what they did. I wouldn't say this was a great show at all. So maybe the inmates are on a different wavelength than me entirely. What about you, Nello? Whose side are you
on? I think I'm in the middle.
So about a 7 out of 10 then.
Yeah. Like, okay. I didn't think that there was anything offensively bad on the show. Were there some decisions that I didn't like? No. I mean, yes, but like, were there any matches that like I just straight up hated? No.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't think there were any hateable matches outside of the main event to me, for the reasons I stated. Everything else was at least solid. Even the down periods, like that stretch with the tag belts, the 2 tag title matches, and then Darby and Kid, those were solid to good. Like Darby and Kid was a good match. It just was meaningless. And it was a mid-card match, but it was good. Like it wasn't bad. And the world title match, or the women's world title match, we like that better than the fans. Like the problem was the fans in that match, not the work. So I think there was a lot of good on this show, but if you're asking me, I would like point right away, say Mox and Fletcher is a match we'll be remembering for a while. And I think that the Stat and Hater match is worth going back to watch. But if somebody came to me and was like, hey, what would you recommend to watch on the show? It would be those 2 matches. I probably wouldn't say anything else that I'd go out of my way to see at the end of the day. But 7's fair. 8's a little high for me. I would say. But we'll see. Interesting time. Interesting way to end the year. But AEW did it. They blew the roof off. They gave it all for MJF. Looks like MJF and Swerve are going to feud. We got Hangman and Hook coming up as a feud, and whatever that's going to happen with the Death Riders. And Mercedes and Willow will have a match on Dynamite. So we'll see what happens. Nevertheless, even though I was really down on the company as a whole after what should be my most hyped period, I'm glad we got together to talk about the show. And we will have more to talk about next week with the awards. So, what are you feeling about the awards? Just like not thinking about it, just gut reaction. Who was on your mind is kind of like a best match, your best wrestler type of deal?
Hangman.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, Hangman, he was the man, even though I feel like they've really messed up his push bad. One more thing about that. In hindsight, I wish they wouldn't have gave him the title in the first place. I wish they would have just given it to... Well, why no? To me, if you don't believe in somebody, which they clearly don't believe in him, or his title reign wouldn't have happened this way. If you believe in someone so little that you don't want to do main events with him, and then you want to give the title to a total bridge champion, just don't do it. That way, when he does win in the future, it'll actually mean more. Because now you can't get this back, though, Nello. You can't get that moment from All In and do it again with him. When he wins the title again, there's no way they can build up to a moment like that where it means that much.
Well, here's the thing. I would say that they already did that because him beating Omega for the title was that big in that moment. And then they did that moment again with him beating Moxley. So I believe that they can do it again. But should they have to? No. He should, in my opinion, he should still be champion. I would have had him held the belt until Osprey returned, and then have him versus Osprey be your all-in main event.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is both of these title reigns were bad. Like, the Omega match was a good moment at the time, but nobody remembers that because the reign was so bad and he got CM Punk'd. And now this, again, he's feuding with Hook, no? like that's where he's going next. Like I said, I think it would have been better if they had just gone with their original plan of Darby, because he could have a short reign and it wouldn't have been that big of a deal for him. With Hangman, though, I feel like he's lost so much. Like, I really do. And I hope you're right, because I love Hangman, too. I was super hyped when he won the title. I want him to be a big star, but I just don't know. Like, I'm really not confident anymore. And I don't think they're going to be able to get that back again. Like, with that all-in-esque run that he had. We'll see, though. Like, hey, you've been right before when you've preached patience, to be fair. So maybe you will have the last laugh again, and a year or two, Hangman's going to get that belt, and it's going to be fantastic at the end of the day. And we'll all say they did it again, and maybe this time they'll get it right. Because they didn't get this title reign right, Nello. Like, you can't say that with Hangman. But we'll see. Nevertheless, good things are ahead. The negativity came out in that main event, but that's what MJF usually does to me whenever he's doing anything. So next week we'll have a positive show. Awards, Hangman on the mind. Will he get awards once we think about it? Let's find out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy that too. So, before we get out of here though, Nello, it's been a little bit. As always, want to give you the floor. You can say anything you want to the people out there as we head into the end of this year and into the new one. What do you want to tell the people out there? What's on your heart?
Thank you for another wonderful year of Wrestle Update to the listeners and to you, Dylan. And check out my mixtapes.
Where can you get those mixtapes?
At aessentials.shop.
Hell yeah. Get some. What a great gift those will be. New Year's gifts ahead of time. It's going to be a bona fide hoot. Every single one of them. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for another great year of Wrestle Update. Thank you guys for joining us for this incredible, at that time, strange ride that we've been on. But 2026 is coming. Hopefully it's the best year ever for me, you, Nello, and all of you listening as well. And wrestling can step its game up and bring us the greatness that we know it can. Because no matter what, though, whether it's great, whether I don't like it, whether you don't like it, no matter what, the one thing you can always count on is that I love you. And until next time, this has been your Wrestle Update.